Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Dr. Hawthorn here, and today we will continue what we left off last time. Last time we have talked about the snapping tool, and this time we are going to talk about merge vertex. If you still have the file from last time, we have a cube here at the bottom and then a distorted cube on top of the original one. They are two separated mesh. They look really stuck together, and you can even join them in the same mesh. You can do so by using Shift to select the two of them in object mode and then Command J or Control J. And now they are in the same mesh, but they are actually two separated things inside one mesh. This you have to be very careful, and you have to keep this in mind that even if something, two objects or more, they are in the same mesh, they are actually separated. What you can do here is to select one of the object by using L. I can either select the one at the bottom or the one on top, and then using grab Z to see that they are actually separated, of course in the edit mode, but you can see that the face on top of this here and the face underneath the other cube is actually present. If you are putting them one on top of each other, it doesn't mean that they would be merged into one object. It is one mesh but two loose spots. So what we can do, if you want to just simplify the mesh, or you will be scared that the overlap face will be affecting the future of this mesh, then you will want to merge them together. And what we can do is to select the two vertices and do the merging. The first option is to, and it is the easier option, is that if you don't have the restriction of measurements, for example, you are building this just by your imagination, you don't have to follow any industrial measurement, you don't have to respect any specific length of the edges, you can just grab the top loose part and lift it up a little bit. Why is that? Is that if you are zooming in, you can see the two vertices very clearly. And what you can do is to select the top vertex and shift to select the lower vertex and use M. Merge, you can have the option of at the center, at cursor, collapse, at first, at last. Collapse and at cursor, it can be a bit more complicated. I would suggest you to look at center, at first, at last. It is literal. If you want to merge it at the center, perfect. Make sure the 4 points you are using the same functions. Merge at center, you see, you are grabbing the vertex on top and the vertex at the bottom, and then you can merge them in at the center point. Or if you select the top vertex first and then the second vertex last, merge last, it means that I'm just grabbing the top vertex and snapping this to the bottom. I'm not moving the bottom vertex. Or if the other way around, I'm snapping at first, it means that I'm grabbing the bottom vertex to snap it to the top. In this case, when you are doing the selection, you have to have a very clear mind and to understand perfectly, of course, to understand the order, what is first and what is last. And this can be different. For example, I can do the selection of this first and then this, the bottom one last. And then moving on to the second one, I do the bottom one first to select and then I select the top one last. You just have to have your mind clear and then you can do whatever you want with the merging function. So this is the first option. But imagine if you have to really respect the length of each edge, then you will probably don't want to just move the top thing a little bit up. What you need to do is to basically turn on the X-ray, because sometimes when we are selecting the edge and when they are too perfectly snapped together, you cannot always use box select to select everything. I try to undo it to show you why. Oh, I have maximized the number of undo. In Blender, we have number restricting how many actions you can undo. And definitely I have selected too many times and I have done too much already. So I cannot undo to the point that I haven't lifted up this mesh on top. What I will do is to turn on the snapping tool and just grab this to the bottom. I will try to mimic what I have done or what I have at the beginning. Everything is snapped back together. In this case, for example, if I want to select the vertex here and I use the box selection to select this vertex, what you can see is that whatever that is selected and affected, you will have this slight highlight in orange color. And you can see if I do the box select like this, either I'm highlighting the edge below or the edge above. It depends on whether you can see the top vertex or the bottom vertex. And in this case, to save the hassle, is either you zoom into the vertex really closely to see the other vertex, or you can turn on the X-ray. When you turn on the X-ray like this, even if you can't see it with your eye, and you do the box selection, you can select the two vertices at the same time. And then you can also use merge at center because you are selecting them at the same time, so you don't have the option of at first or at last. They are basically in the same position, but now we are not having a face overlapping each other anymore. And not only that, we are having two faces overlapping each other, two vertices overlapping each other, and then four edges overlapping each other. In this case, you just have to merge them at the center. And then now, if I'm selecting this vertex, you can see that all edges around it is highlighted. And if you are looking at other vertices here, I'm not using box selection. I'm just clicking onto the vertex. You see, either I have the top one selected or I have the bottom one selected. It depends on where my cursor is. In this case, what I can do is to do box selection again to do merge, or right click on the mouse. I can also have merge vertices at center. This is two ways of merging. We have three ways. One is to use right click on the mouse, merge vertices at center. Second is to have the hotkey M. And then third is to go to vertex, and then it's not here. It's mesh and then merge at center. So you can go to mesh, merge at center. Three ways to merge the vertices. And then, because I haven't done it yet, right? I can try to use L to select the top part, but then because two vertices are merged together already, so now we have only one loose part. We don't have two loose parts. What I can do is to select the faces on top, and then we will see what happens. I only have to select these four faces, and if I move them really straight up, you see they are linked together. And because I'm moving them in a parallel level, I'm not adjusting the height of any vertex from this part. I'm adjusting instead the height of the vertex underneath, like this. So now you can still see three pairs of vertices. They are basically separated. There is another way. You can either just do what I did just now with merging vertices, or there is another way that is amazing. That is called auto merge vertices. And this function is on the upper right corner of the edit mode. Usually we don't have this on, and sometimes we by accident click this on and you might find it disturbing. Sometimes you will want to just check all around the interface and see if the snapping tool is on and this auto merge vertex is on, or even the proportional editing is on. But proportional editing it's not useful now. It can be useful later on when you are doing like sculpture or a more complicated shape. Make sure this is off because you will be really disturbed. With the auto merge vertex function on, basically what we will have here, and if I'm turning it back to the vertex select, for example, without doing anything, of course it's not merged. I'm still using the clicking to select the upper vertex, right? But if I'm just moving this away and moving this back to close to the other vertex a little bit, like this, it is automatically merged. And sometimes, as you can see, I had to be very, very precise in merging that, right? Actually, once it is on, you can turn on this panel here. The option, you can reduce the threshold. For now, it's like 1 millimeter as the threshold. But you can also just reduce this to 1 centimeter. So they are very close to each other and it is easier for you to even merge them together. This depends on the distance. Actually, this is the distance between the two vertices, right? So if it is 1 centimeter, actually it is quite large here in the viewport, and that's why you can simply merge them together. And this one as well, if you want to zoom in and just to move it close to the other one, now you are merging this vertex. Of course, because they are already together, that's why I had to do so much. But if they were apart and when I turn this on, I just have to move them snapping on top of each other, and then automatically the 4 vertices will be merged together already. Let's see how it's done. So for now, I will turn this off, and going back to the object mode, I'm going to get rid of this cube and introducing another cube and also adding one more cube, and I will grab this up. Now I have 2 cubes, right? One above the other. If I'm going to join them, I have to use Shift to select the 2 cubes, and with Command J to join them together, going to edit mode by tab, turning on these auto merge vertices. What I need to do is to get this one snapping right on top of the other cube. And now let's recap what we have done last time with the snapping tool. It's basically grabbing this, using B to set the snap base. I will take one of these vertices and then just snap it onto the bottom vertex, right? When I do that, I'm not only snapping this cube right on top of the other one, I'm also merging the 8 vertices together. So let's see the magic happen. You see, I'm putting them right on top of each other, and now if I'm selecting this vertex, I'm not only selecting the 3 edges on top or the 3 edges at the bottom, I'm selecting them all together because they are inseparable now. They are merged together, and this is how we can make the most out of this. I can create 2 different meshes as long as the number of vertex, the count of the vertices, they are the same. When I put them really close to each other, you can merge them automatically without the hassle of selecting the top vertex and the lower vertex, and then I have to snap them together. This is very handy, and I hope you try to practice with that, and I am sure that one day you will use this function very much and you will love this function very much. So yeah, this is what I want to say today, and I hope you enjoy. I hope you have learned something new. Next time we'll come back with another function or modifier. Stay tuned. Bye.